have a very interesting guest today on Pathway Presents. It's David Wolfe from Inguo, and basically he is the CEO and founder of the company, which is an automated causal analysis and discovery firm. And basically, he's leading the charge at the team for that cutting edge technology, where we're going to be actually diving a little bit deeper in today and basically learn who is using Ingo and how it's benefiting their organizations. So David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lucas.
Yeah, maybe so to give it full justice, maybe could you give me a summary? What is Ingo all about in your own words?
So yeah, and what Inguo is all about is providing AI-driven causal discovery. And we do this through a cloud-based interface. What is new about us is if you're in the world of analytics and you're using tools such as SEM or Bayesian Lab or SPSS or Amos or Tetrid or all of these other bells and whistles, and they do have bells and whistles, but they have their limitations. And what they are able to provide is what's known as probabilistic modeling. And so someone may see our output, which is a directed acyclic graph, and they think, oh, that's just like what I do with SEM, or that's what I do with Bayes. Because they see the directed acyclic graph or a DAG, they view it as being what's known as a Bayesian network. And what we are not that at all. What we are is providing actual causal discovery. So we are not probabilistic. Our AI-driven cloud-based platform, what it does is it finds the optimal causal model using machine learning and democratizing the data and removing the human bias. That does not mean that it removes the need necessarily for the human user. If you are a senior data scientist or a PhD level statistician, something in this area, it's a fantastic use for you because you get to intellectually collaborate with the machine learning. So you get to bring in your expert knowledge. You get to apply that to strengthen directed acyclic graphs. Because though we may produce that causal model at anywhere from an 85 to 94% accuracy, that means there's still room for improvement. So by adding expert knowledge and using your own intuitive nature that you know with certainty, like you would want to apply that knowledge if you're certain about it. You wouldn't want to apply that knowledge if it's like, well, I think maybe it's this, so I'm going to apply this. That's not what I don't believe that a responsible data scientist would do, because you're actually manipulating what those findings are, and it can lead you down a pathway to making drastic decisions that you shouldn't have been making in the first place.
I see. I can see on the website there's a lot of application areas like market research, e-commerce, UX, retail. Like, what would you say are the typical clients of Ingo?
I mean, right now it's very diverse. We're dealing with, say, a large client like a Verizon, where it could go anywhere from their marketing plans to how they sell products like home security products or bundling and how they come to those decisions. Working with a market research company who is working with, say, someone like Snapchat or Facebook and seeing like what is driving user content or what is driving someone in that direction. Or looking at, say, an auto manufacturer at what is driving brand affinity towards certain brands across lines. And then finally also dealing with healthcare and insurance. What's driving the insurance costs? What's driving insurance premiums? To what is the functionality of testing scores in autism, for example? What is the root cause at finding ASD traits in a child 2 years or under? And are those the proper way to go about it? And what is the statistical equivalence of being able to determine this?
Okay, that gives me a good idea of who you guys are working with. So could you maybe then tell me, like, how does somebody hear about Ingo right now? Like, what's the typical journey somebody goes through in order to get started?
Well, they can always go to the website. We do have a contact page. They can also reach out to, and generally if you reach out through the contact, that message goes to myself directly or the head of our director of growth and strategy. I highly recommend that they go to the website, www.inguo.io, and that's INGUO.io. And if you want, there's also a demo on there that our head of product, Miss Young Chung, gave at the recent IIEX Health Conference, where she does a complete demo of the platform, how it works, how you would upload a data set, how you can input expert knowledge, and just how much more efficient the automation is rather than spending hours upon hours doing your modeling and your regressions and your correlations, because that is actually what we have eliminated, is the need for that regression modeling, those correlations. That's where the automation really comes in.
You brought up the website there. Like, what role would you say does the website play for client acquisition at the moment?
Some. I would say we've probably acquired much more either from myself speaking at conferences or demos that we've done at conferences within market research. I do a lot of posts on, like, kind of hit and run posts on social media, whether it's LinkedIn or whether it's Twitter or any of the other social mediums, or writing articles, say, in Medium. You know, and this has also garnered us quite a bit of traction. Having been an attendee at a lot of market research conferences in healthcare and behavior and marketing and just straight market research, I have a nice long list of contacts that I'm able to reach out to because I know what they're doing within that space. The website does drive some traffic, and we've seen a noticeable uptick in traffic. But at this point, I mean, social media has probably been our biggest hit. I mean, we did work with polling firms in the recent presidential campaign, which gave us some interesting insights into what polling firms are seeing from respondents, and then also what is driving their feelings. And it was a mixed bag, a lot like the election was.
Gotcha. Okay, so I see you obviously very, very active on the different types of events and conferences. Looking on the website side of things, like, what would you say is the major strength of the website at the moment? Is it the ability to, maybe convert, or the quality of the leads it provides, or just the information or experiences? Like, where do you see a strength of the website?
The strength of the website right now, I would put it at the information. I'm a firm believer that most people who are going to go down that rabbit hole of, okay, well, I've used Bayesian Labs, or I've used SEM, or I've used SPSS and AMOS or SAS. Like, what makes these guys different? They seem to act like they're doing something different. And so it gives them access not only to our blog page, but our resources page, which I think is incredibly important. For one, you get to see the demo on what it is that we're doing. Number two, there are white papers that are the driving force behind this technology that confirms what it is that we're doing and why it's different and why it matters. I like to compare this to, say, the pre-internet age of how people communicated through word of mouth and things like that. But that advertising always ran into a wall, or even like science in general. It always ran into a wall, and people thought, okay, well, we've reached the end of innovation. So in the case of data analytics, there's this, oh, well, we just need better data visualization. It'll be much more attractive and easier for the user from a UI perspective. And what we're saying is, yeah, our UI might not be quite as pretty as some, though we are working on that. We put more emphasis on, we want to get through that wall. So I like to think that the website is a good utility to help hold the hand of a prospective new user, for them to walk around that wall and see that we have actually gone well beyond what those other firms have stopped, because they really have stopped. If you look at like the IJCAI conference and the awards that they hand out, and Elon Musk and Jack Ma are the ones handing it out, in the world of data analytics and causal analysis, they're now just handing out awards for data visualization. They're not handing out awards for breakthroughs. And so the creator of our current technology, Liu Chun Chen, they recognized her back in 2018. So we're now just working on new innovations in, say, time series, and using a nonlinear Gaussian model, or strengthening what it is. Because the other thing that separates us that people can learn from the website is that we use mixed data types. So if you have discrete, ordinal, continuous data, it doesn't matter. Demographics doesn't matter. It's not like SEM and Bayesian Labs and everyone else where you have to make everything a binary 1 and 0 or some kind of discrete data. We use mixed data types. So hopefully they use the website as an educational tool, which will drive them to us because we are obviously working with the more sophisticated user in some respects.
Since you were saying that the depth of the information is one of the strengths of the website, where do you see on the flip side, where do you see the biggest room for improvement? If maybe, the ability to convert the people that are coming, or the qualification of the leads, or where do you see the biggest room for improvement?
For us, the biggest room of improvement would be getting people to reach out with contact. Like what is going to convert them to taking a leap of faith and checking out what we do. I mean, we do offer a free trial. So if people want to take a free trial, but also they have to communicate with us in order to do that. Mm-hmm. We launched in May. So we launched in the middle of a pandemic. So currently it's also hard for me to gauge where things really are, because I think even if when I see places like, say, JCPenney, or I see like massive American brands that are going to their death because of what happened, it's hard for me to gauge as a startup what's working and what's not, because I don't think if anybody told you that they have the holy grail on what's working and what's not right now, I got some oceanside property in Arizona that you can have.
Okay, very good. So I would love to look a little bit behind the curtain of Ingo, what you and how you guys are being set up. So, how would sales and marketing be structured?
Sales and marketing, we work with, we use CRM tools like HubSpot. And, they've been a great partner for us to work with to really do that. Leveraging relationships through organizations like TechCrunch or like E Combinator or Y Combinator, sorry. And then, we were a spin out from the NECX Accelerator program, which also gave us a bit of a profile as well. We do work with a marketing firm called Little Bird Marketing, which was founded and is run by a woman named Priscilla McKinney, who I've gotten to know very well at various market research conferences. And, she really took the time to understand what we were doing. And I don't come from the marketing and advertisement space. So, I've made it a point, and I know that this is segueing into the next bit, but I've made it a point to try and learn everything that I don't know how to do.
Yep.
As a CEO, because if someone comes in as a founder and CEO and says, I have it mapped out in my head, once again, I've got that oceanfront property in Arizona that you might want to take a look at.
Very good. What I would actually is actually perfectly leading into my next question, because I wanted to switch gears a bit and learn about you personally and your journey a bit. Like, what would be a topic that you have recently researched in depth and focused really up on?
One would be the presidential election. It gave me a good insight into the types of questions that are being asked by leading polling firms. I know that the recipient of our work, they weren't our direct client. We were working with the polling firm itself. But I know that the recipient of our output, they spend a lot of money on advertising in very critical, what turned out to be critical swing states. I come from the policy world. My master's degree is in international policy. I worked in international policy for 12 years. So that was actually the journey that I came into this with the startup, because to me, it was like, if I would have been able to use this tool or this platform when I was assessing data for work I was conducting in Kashmir, on the Indian and Pakistani side, or in development projects and microfinance projects in West Africa. I've contacted with the the institute that I received my master's, now called the Middlebury Institute. When I was there, it was the Monterey Institute. But I'm in contact with their environmental policy program looking at issues of climate change. So to me, those are the interesting things that I'm looking at. My long-term focus for Inguo is in that AI for good space, because I lived in that world. I know the impact that this can have in those areas. Doesn't mean I'm not going to, keep, my initial beachheads are market research firms. They are healthcare pharma firms. But, that's sustainability for a business where while we try to make those inroads and make better innovations to use this technology to basically make people's lives better.
Very good. Since we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, I would love to jump into our rapid fire questions. It's a couple of short and crisp question answers. You ready for those?
Sure.
Awesome. So what's the one single thing the company is focused on the most at the moment?
Client acquisition. Or I should say, actually, adoption, early adoption.
Mhm. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Fundraising.
Mhm. And
COVID has made massive challenges in fundraising. I'll just put it that way.
Mhm. And if today would be your very first day working on Ingo, what would be one advice that you would give yourself?
Be patient. You're running a marathon, not a sprint.
Very much so. So, thanks a lot for being part of the show with us today. I want to give you the very last word, right? If somebody forgets everything that we just talked about Ingo today, what would be one thing that they should remember about the company?
Correlation is not causation. And if you think you're doing causation, ask yourself again how you got to that point.
Very good. Thanks a lot for being part of the show.
Thank you.